Today we honor you, Misty, for all of your outstanding work, your awards, your dancing. In our audience today, we have our dance majors. They're in grades from 6 all the way to 12. So these are young people who audition to get into our school because they're passionate about dance. Some of them are interested in modern dance, some of them are ballerinas, some of them are a combination of both things, but they love dancing. And so, what a pleasure it is for us to have you here because you epitomize everything I want our students to grow up to be. I think that your tenacity, your strength, your courage, everything that you've done since you were 13 years old, and some of them are 13 years old in the program, but right to now, look at you and to see the things that you achieved and how you just overcame so many obstacles and how you continued on your journey. It's a story everybody should hear, but the kids have read your story, they've watched the documentaries, so they're clear on who you are. Yet on a historical note, Misty is the first African American female principal dancer at the American Ballet Theater. And like our Vice President Kamala Harris, you will now serve as an inspiration for thousands, but you were before Kamala, but you will serve as an inspiration for thousands of young Black and brown girls and boys who can see that they can become anything. It's anything that they put the work into and anything that they're committed to, they can achieve it. So it's wonderful when individuals like you and Kamala and other people like that kind of blaze the path there, you know? So we welcome you.
Thank you so, so much. I'm so thrilled to be here to see all of these brown faces that want to be a part of dance. It means so much to me, the importance of the arts in a human being's life, but to be able to create a space where Black and brown people feel that they belong in this space. And that is so much of my purpose. So this Zoom room just makes me so, so happy and hopeful for our future.
They're here, and I know all of them have questions, but that would take us 8 hours. So I have questions, and then I have four of our dancers who are going to ask you a question, and we'll be
Okay.
out in our 30-minute time slot. But we
Okay.
do appreciate it because we know you're busy, and I know that you've been doing this a lot, going around talking to children. And the fact that Evie Wright was able to work this out with her sister, who knew your manager, and all of that hookup, it's a beautiful thing. So we're very fortunate. The entire Mount Vernon City School District wanted to be here, but I thought it was too much. Yeah, I just thought it was too much. So, what advice can you offer our girls, our boys who aspire to a life in the dance world? Should they seek additional training? Should they go to college? Should they be taking extra classes now? What would you recommend? Just they're on the beginning, that intermediate path.
Yeah, I think first and foremost is really understanding what it is you truly want. I think it's great to have support and to be motivated to try dance or to dive into the arts. But if it's not something you truly want to do, I think it's important to recognize that. This is a path that you really there's a lot of sacrifices you make, which that's going to come about with anything in life, but I think that it's something that you really have to wholeheartedly put yourself into. And once you realize that, I think that there's no straight path to get to where you want to go. I'd say that most importantly is to understand that you can carve out your own path and your own journey to whatever it is you want the end result to be, just to not compare yourself to other people. I think that's first and foremost for any artist or any dancer. We're all unique and individuals, and there's no direct formula to being a great dancer or performer or technician. So if you're really passionate about it, take all the classes that are available to you. Don't be afraid to look for support. Be open to guidance. There's no way we can do this on our own. Surely didn't do it on my own. I had such incredible support, but I think that it's recognizing and understanding and being open to allowing that support in and people to help you. But along the way, just enjoy the journey, because the journey and the work is more than half of what it is. You know, it's not just about the recognition and the accolades and going on stage and performing, but it's the path and the journey. And I think that's why I started out by saying you have to be passionate about this. Because if you don't love to rehearse and be in class, then it's going to be miserable. But I love all aspects of dance, so that's I think what makes it a beautiful experience.
Missy, we know that talent is not the only ingredient that a person has to have, and we know that, especially for young children of African descent, it's an arduous climb. And what are some of your struggles you had to endure in the beginning? And how did you overcome those struggles and decide, I'm going to stay in here? This is what I want to do, and nothing is going to stop me.
I love that you started out by saying that, you know, it's not just about having a raw talent. So many really successful dancers that I dance alongside of or have witnessed their journeys or from afar seen their success. So many of those dancers were the ones that were turned away, that were told no, that were told they didn't have the right bodies, you know, whatever it was. Those were the dancers that had an added fuel and fire to go after what they wanted. And it's really about, you know, timing. It's about having a love and a passion and something that, you know, in the end, through art and dance, like we're telling a story. We're telling a story through movement, and it's about how you make people feel. It's not about accomplishing a technical feat necessarily, or how many pirouettes you're going to do, or how high you're going to jump, but it's how the audience is going to respond to you. But I think that that's been a lot of my power. You know, being the only Black woman at American Ballet Theater for the first 11 years of my career was extremely difficult. I'd say that that was really the hardest time, was trying to understand and figure out how to navigate in a very white space and being alone. And so that's why it's been so important for me to have mentors and a support system that were outside of my dancing career, outside of American Ballet Theater. But you know, it's having someone to look at who understands what it is to be in your shoes, and that's not always lent to us, you know, especially in dance. You don't always have a teacher who looks like you. You're not always going to have an artistic director who looks like you. Which, you know, I'm fighting for that inclusion and diversity in all aspects of dance. It's not just about us as dancers and being diverse on the stage, but so many levels being diverse. And that's probably been the hardest thing for me, is breaking through that barrier and getting people to see beyond my skin color, beyond the body type that I come in. And I think that I've proved that you can go on stage and make people feel uh, this beautiful escape through the way you make them feel. It's not about how you look. So it's an ongoing thing. You know, it's not just me becoming a principal dancer and then everything's great and jolly, but it's been, you know, I think even more of a responsibility having this title and being in this position and being seen and heard, to be able to speak up for all of us.
Why is that? We know that dance first came on the scene like the 15th century. We had ballet, 15th century. And now we're 2015, and you're the first principal dancer for the American. That's a big gap.
Yeah.
Well, what is it that needs to happen in our society? I mean, I was talking with Ms. Johnson earlier, and she's the middle school dance teacher, and she was saying that there needs to be more dance theater of Harlems. There needs to be more companies like that. But why are they not emerging? What is the holdup with that? I mean, we have dance theater of Harlem here in New York, but how do we create more opportunities like that so people aren't waiting and waiting and waiting for opportunities? Because I was watching one of the documentaries, and some of the dancers gave up. They no
Yeah.
longer danced.
Yeah, you know, I think I mean, it's hard to pinpoint one thing that will help fix this.
Mhm.
You know, I think that it's really about, you know, coming in from the top and then also from the bottom and kind of meeting in the middle. You know, when I think about the board of directors, and they're kind of the gatekeepers, whether it's a company or a school. And if you don't have diversity in that space, there's no way that they're going to be hiring more diverse teachers. They're going to be hiring more diverse dancers. They're going to have a different repertoire that speaks to the American story, as well as the story of so many minority dancers and people. I think that when you tackle it from the top, again, the board of directors who hire all of these people, and then you go in from the bottom, and it's about access and opportunity for young people to be given the resources and have an opportunity to train. And so I'm a believer in, like Dance Theater of Harlem, using that as a model, going into different communities and bringing the access to them, rather than expecting, there's so many things like, how do we bus kids in from different communities? And, that's kind of where you get this divide, where if you're only in these big metropolitan, very white areas, how are you going to have that equal opportunity? But as well as creating more companies where you have people who look like us. Again, it's about the finances. It's about people wanting to really put their money and faith behind ballet, and it's been hard to when you don't see a clear opportunity. So why would you put in all that work and effort if it's not going to go anywhere? And so, I really think it's about kind of breaking down these barriers with these big institutions. And that's part of what, I'm trying to do. Kind of, being in a position now where I'm stepping in on the board of directors. I've just joined the board of directors of Lincoln Center and a really big arts institution called the Shed in New York City. And that's how we get inside and start to, teach people, educate people on how we can bring more opportunity to more people and get them to understand what it is to be in our shoes.
Exactly. You, where did you garner your tenacity? What
Hmm.
were some of the experiences that you had as a young person? You're a very young person. So where did that come from?
I think it's innate, and I think all of my siblings have it to some extent. I think growing up, watching my mother, who was a single parent raising six children, and, for most of my childhood, we didn't have a home. We were houseless. We were either living in motels, we were staying with friends, and survival was the one thing that, that was our daily task, surviving. And I think that, with all of that, for the first 13 years of my life, when I came into the ballet scene, I was like, oh, this is a piece of cake. If I if I can handle all I've witnessed and seen and experienced in my 13 years, I think that it was ingrained in me from all of my experiences. And I think that as artists and as dancers, it's important for us to pull from our own life experiences and find strength and recognize all that you've already accomplished as human beings, and whether it's in school or different things you've experienced in life, and know that if you can get through that, you can persevere in an art form like this that may not be built for you to thrive in, but you have the strength. Just existing as a black or brown person in America, you have resilience to do so much. And I think that's just how I've thought of things throughout my life and career.
Excellent. We're going to begin with the student questions. We're going to start with Kendall McDowell, 11th grade student. Kendall.
Hello, Miss Copeland. My name is Kendall McDowell. I'm in 11th grade, and I would love to ask you, how did you stay emotionally motivated and connected to dance while you had your stress fractures and injuries?
It's a great question. Thank you. Thank you, Kendall. It's, I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it and make everything seem great. And like, I woke up every day, even with my injury, thinking like, oh, I can do this. There are those days when it's so difficult. And that's why it's important to have people around you that are going to push you, that are going to say you can do it and we believe in you. It's so important. We just don't do it on our own. But I think that it was what kept me going in that time. I was still a soloist in the company. I had just been given my first principal role in a classical work at 29 years old, which is like ancient in ballet years. And I think it was getting that taste of what could be in terms of, that first performance of the Firebird that I did, to see how much of the Black community came out and could see themselves through my success and see what should have been for so many in the past and what could be for the future. That was motivation for me to keep going, and also just to be able to look at, I think that so many people who are successful, not everyone has this perfect cookie cut out like life and experience. And I think that it's about adapting. And as human beings, we're very good at adapting. If you think about the pandemic and, and what's going on right now, adapting to making adjustments and finding a path that works for you. So I tried to take control over things I had control over. Like I couldn't stand and move and dance, but I had control over my upper body and doing research and doing floor bar work and just finding ways around. And I think that's the beauty of art, is that again, there's no scientific, uh, thing that makes you who you are. It's really about finding what works for you as an individual.
Thank you. Brielle?
Hello, my name is Brielle Henderson, and I'm in the ninth grade. And my question was, what motivated you to keep going despite the challenges that you faced along the way?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's been a lot of it's been the youth. Like it's so important for me, like even at this place in my career, at this point in my career, I'm always, at ABT, the school is there as well, and I'm always peeking in and paying attention and watching younger people and seeing the way things are evolving and the motivation that this generation has to make us all better. And that to me is something that makes me just keep pushing. It's motivating to see the next generation have passion and have a belief in art and what it can do to heal our world, and to make us better. But again, also just seeing the Black community feel like, okay, this is a space we can exist in, and that to me is so incredibly powerful. And I just want to be able to leave that as part of, what I leave behind is motivating people to strive to be the best and push past all the barriers and find a support system to be able to do that.
Thank you. Dougie?
Hello, my name is Dougie Valdale and I'm a 10th grade student. And my question is, what would you say to your 16-year-old self?
Hi, Dougie. um, that's my brother's name is Doug, my eldest brother. I call him Dougie. um, I would say to know that you don't have to be perfect. I think especially as dancers and as ballet dancers, we're constantly striving for this idea of perfection, which doesn't exist. And what perfect is for each individual is so drastically different. And I think I would just tell myself to just do your best, stay calm and patient, and know that the work is going to be a beautiful payout. I think being consistent, knowing you're being consistent and putting in the work and doing everything you can to be your best self, you will find the right space for you to be in, to get nurtured, and just to stay open.
Thank you. Amaya?
Hello, my name is Amaya Louie, and I'm in the ninth grade. My question is, what was your favorite performance and why?
Hello, thank you. Um, my favorite role to perform is Juliet in Romeo and Juliet. I think that it's something that with age and with experience, I've realized how much I enjoy the more like meaty acting roles on stage. I think as a young person, I really enjoyed like the more contemporary, that didn't have big storylines. But now at this point, like, it's such a beautiful thing to take all of your experiences and put it into the characters you're portraying. So as Juliet, you get to dive into so many layers. You watch Juliet literally grow up in front of your eyes during that ballet. Um, within these many acts, you get to see her evolve, and to me, that's like such a beautiful challenge to experience on stage.
Thank you, Misty. And finally, Olivia.
Hello, Misty. Hello, everyone. My name is Olivia Anderson, and I'm in 11th grade. And my question is, do you still have relationships with any of your previous instructors?
Thank you, Olivia. Yes, with all of them. When I think about my journey and training, um, it's been a team of people. And I think that it can sometimes be hard for different teachers to be able to like let go of their students and let them grow and blossom and discover different teachers. There's so much you can learn from so many different people. And I've always had an understanding of that, and just maintaining a good and healthy relationship with all of my teachers or coaches or whatever it is. And knowing that it's an accumulation of all of this knowledge that I'm getting from so many different people. I think that's like a good way for you to like maintain a healthy relationship with teachers and coaches, is having that understanding that it's not that you're growing beyond them, but that they have certain tools and little droplets of knowledge that are going to help you in that moment, and then it's great just to have so much out there to learn from.
Thank you. My assistant principal, Charles Brown, has a question. It popped up in the chat, but I'll let him ask himself. Charles, Mr. Brown?
Thank you, Dr. Collins. I didn't know you was gonna let me ask. I hear Miss Copeland is just so wonderful. Like, I'm a great fan of yours, and sorry for how excited I am. When did you start to feel comfortable enough to speak to the Black community? I hear you say, I want Black and brown children to, be excited about this, to love this, and not be apologetic that you have to speak to all communities.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I can pinpoint exactly when it happened, but it's always felt really natural for me and necessary. Being Black was not something I could like separate. And when I was existing in American Ballet Theater and being the only Black woman, I think that maybe some of it had to do with, growing up in a very diverse community in Los Angeles, California. I think growing up, my mother was very, very clear about our identity, with my siblings, like being biracial, but being Black, and how people are going to view you, treat you, how you're going to be received by the world. We had a very clear understanding from a young age that when I leave the house, it doesn't matter how much Italian or German I have in me, I'm going to be treated as a Black woman, as a minority woman. And so I think having that understanding of my identity before ballerina became my identity, I think allowed me to feel comfortable and confident in sharing my experiences in the ballet world, but also understanding how to navigate in a way. And it sucks that this is our responsibility and what we have to do now, but as Black people, to make other people comfortable having the conversation and not make them feel attacked or that you're blaming them. And I think that's something I got really good at from watching the Black men in ABT. From watching the mistakes they made, the way they talked to people, whether they got through. And I think that's kind of when I started to feel like, okay, I think I understand how to do it in this world. So I would say I was in my early 20s, still in the corps de ballet, but I felt like there's no way I could continue on and get people to understand what I'm experiencing. Whether it's, what it feels like to be told you have to paint your skin white to look like other people on stage. All of these things, I found a way to do it where it was a conversation. But I feel like, I would be remiss if I didn't even bring up the idea of colorism, you know, in the world, but also in dance and in ballet. And I definitely have had and have privileges by being biracial and being light skinned. And I feel like I've always thought like this is my responsibility to, you know, maybe my white artistic director feels more comfortable having this conversation with me than he would with a dark skinned woman. And so I always understood and could recognize that like this is the time. Like I don't know when there's gonna be another Black girl in the company. And so like if I don't take these steps, then how can people come up after me?
Misty, it's been such a pleasure to have you here on behalf of the Denzel Washington School of the Arts, the Mount Vernon City School District, our superintendent, Dr. Kenneth R. Hamilton. I want to thank you again for taking the time to come and spend this half hour with us. It feels like we've been here for a while. It doesn't even feel like a half hour. You're so wonderful. And it's such a pleasure to see you and for you to serve as an inspiration for our children. We love them dearly, and to have you here is very, very special. And know that we'll remember this day and we'll talk about it for a very, very long time. And I know that the children feel blessed. And I just want to thank you. That's so cool that you were able to come and spend this time with us. Guys, let's go to the speaker, change the view so you can see everybody. Let's go gallery. And you guys, let's give Miss Misty Copeland a round of applause. I'm going to scroll through the picture so you can see everybody. Here we go. Keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping. I'm scrolling. Keep clapping, keep clapping. There's everyone. Keep clapping. This is our school. And we feel very special. And we feel very honored to have the opportunity to have individuals like yourself come and speak to our kids and inspire them, because we recognize that inspiration is key. And when kids can see individuals who look like them, it tells them that anything is possible. And the fact that you've reached the heights that you've reached, it touches my heart. And I researched you this weekend again, like I was writing a dissertation. And so I learned so much about you and I was so inspired. But again, on behalf of my little school, we all are wonderful people here. Maybe one day we'll get to see you in person.
Yes, and thank you for all the work that all of you guys are doing, teachers, everything. Like it's so incredible and so necessary and a hard job to hold and to have that passion to do what you all are doing. But thank you so much for having me, and I know I'll be seeing you guys in the future.
You will. And thank you. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We made it. It's 1:30. We didn't go over. Wonderful. All right. Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you. Bye.
Bye.
You guys can say bye now. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Love your life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We still have 1 minute. Keep going. Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Really cool. All right, guys. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you again soon. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Dr. Collins.
Bye, sweetie.